So I haven't hooked any of those up yet. No, that's great. Okay, so that's our pole vector setup. For our FK skeleton, I'm going to just hide all these other guys. So that's the FK skeleton, the red one. Just to make life a little bit easier, I'm just going to, if I test that, I need to make sure I move it back, because I need these joints to be at 0. It's very important that before I do anything else that these joints are all at 0. So if your IK handle is moved at all, you might just want to freeze transformations on your IK handle so it's set to 0 as well. So if you do move it to test it around, you can pop that IK handle back to 0. I've got a control curve here, a little box curve that I'm going to just snap into place now. Just snap that right on top. And freeze its transformations. Modify freeze transformations. And call this one IK arm control left. So that's my IK control. I'm going to unparent that from that box, and I'm just going to grab this IK control and just drop it under there. So middle mouse button, drag and drop. Could use a constraint, but that'll work for the meantime. Great, that's looking good. And I'm just going to get the group for this pole vector and just constrain it to follow wherever that box goes. Right, so we're going to get the pole vector group here. So pole vector group, and I'm going to grab the box. I'm going to hold down the control key, pole vector, constrain, parent constraint, maintain offset, apply, and close. And now wherever this guy goes, that IK pole vector box will follow, and then I can grab that, move that up and down. And then if I've done any of this testing, I always make sure I'm just going to set this back to 0. Right, so that looks good. That's the IK handle and the pole vector setup. I'm just going to go and hide that IK handle so I can't see it. But that's already looking pretty good. And what I might do is I'm just going to grab both these two items and just add them to my FK skeleton layer. So right click, add selected objects, and now when I hide them, it'll hide the FK skeleton layer. Now I've just realized that I've just stuffed up here, and I've called these guys the FK skeleton, and that actual layer should be the IK skeleton. So it's, as I've said, it's very easy to get confused. This is just a simple fix though. I just need to rename my layer, so I'm just going to call this one IK, save, grab this guy and rename that FK, and save. So those of you who spotted that in the video, well done. Alright, so that's my IK skeleton working. Let's bring up my FK, so it's going to be the green one. And all I need to do for this guy is to create some controls. So I'm just going to quickly create a curve, scale it, and I'm just, for some reason, if you ever have this happen where it's like popping like this, you just need to switch off discrete. It's just trying to sort of scale in increments. So I'm just going to scale that to about the size that I want. I'm going to edit, delete by type its history, modify, freeze its transformations. And I'm going to call this one elbow control left, and group it elbow control group left. Right. Now normally in the past we've put things under a locator. In this exercise I'm going to put it under a group, which basically does the same thing as the locator, except you just can't see the locator. The group you can't see to grab it. It's there. The locator gives you something you can grab and move, but I'm going to do this with a group. So I've got the elbow control. I'm going to duplicate that 3 times, and I'm just going to rename this one shoulder control group left, shoulder control, and finally down here, grab this guy and wrist control, and this one here is going to be wrist control left. That's pretty good to me. Okay, so once I've got that sorted, what I need to do is I need to pop these onto the right place. So instead of grabbing the control group, now unlike you saw me just snap over the IK handle, because these are going to be rotational controls, I need to line up with where that skeleton is going to be. So for this to work, I need to select the shoulder, hold down the control key, and I'm going to select the shoulder control group, not the shoulder control, the shoulder control group. And I'm going to constrain, parent constrain, switch off maintain offset, and hit apply. Then I'm going to delete this parent constraint because it's done its job, it's got it in the right place. And I'm just going to do that with this guy here, which is the elbow. Hold down the control key, grab the group, not the curve, the group, hit apply, and then delete that constraint because it's put it in the right place. And the same for the wrist, so grab the wrist control group, hit apply, and delete that guy. Now I'm going to go through and just grab these wrist controls, and just rotate, not the groups, the wrist controls, and just rotate them -90. And I'm going to scale them down so they're a bit easier to manage. And once I've scaled them down, this is the curves, not the actual group, the curve. And then I'm going to modify freeze transformations, and these should line up perfectly with my control. Okay. The next thing I need to do is just basically hook these up so that they take control of the joint skeleton. So all I have to do for that is grab the curve, and then the joint, and do a constrain, do an orientation constraint with maintain offset. Let's apply that one, orient constraint with maintain offset, apply. Oops. It's not letting me do it because these two layers, these two joints are locked, as you can probably see. So what I have to do is just say just constrain Y. So in this case, because I lock those joints, I can only apply a constraint to the Y. So I tick Y there and hit apply, and then come back to the shoulder, and that one's a joint with full mobility. So I constrain all the axes, tick the all button, and click apply. Sorry, I need to grab what I'm constraining. There we go, apply. Cool. And that should work. There we go. Yep, that's moving that guy. That's moving that guy. That's moving that guy. And now all I need to do is come through, and I can do this with constraints, or I can do this with by parenting them, but I'll do it the clean way, which is to constrain them together. So I select wrist group and select elbow constraint. I might actually just move these up so that they're in the right order. So just holding down the middle mouse button, and you can actually just move things around just to reposition them in the outliner. So what I'm going to do is get wrist group to follow elbow control. So select elbow control, then wrist group, do a constrain, parent constrain, maintain offset, hit apply. And I want elbow to follow the shoulder, so I click the shoulder first, then the elbow control, and then I hit apply. And now when I move these guys, yep, the controls will follow along nicely. Great. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these guys here. So I'm going to do some grouping in my outline. I know these two are my IK controls, so I'm going to group them. IK control, group. And these are my FK controls, so I'm just going to group them. FK control, group. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take all these FK controls and just add them to my FK skeleton layer. So that's all green, that's my FK skeleton, and there's my IK skeleton, and there's my bind skeleton. And I'm just going to pause the video, just going to stop the video here, and I'll do a second part where I go through and show you guys how to connect all these three guys up in the correct order. Okay.